Hari Varadhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatiravanachari. Yamunatiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatiravanachari. Yamunatiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jayam Vishwapad Brahmahamsa Parijakacharya Stotra Sada Shri Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishwapad Brahmahamsa Parijakacharya Stotra Sada Shri Śrīmad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai. $38. Jai. Thank you. So reading from Canto 8, Chapter 12. Chapter 12, Mohini-murti bewilders Lord Shiva. Text 38. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Dishtya Tvam Vibuddha Shrestha Swam Nishtam Atmanasthita Yanme Stri Rupaya Svairam Mohito Apyanga Mayaya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Dishtya tvam vibuddha shrestha swam nishtham atmana sthita yanme stri rupaya svairam mohito apyangamayaya. Mohito Piyangamaya. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Dishratam Vibuddha Shrestha Swam Nishtham Atmana Sthita Yanme Sri Rupaya Svairam Mohito Apyangamayaya. Matadis. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Drishtya Tvam Vibhuta Shrestha Swam Nishtam Atmana Sthita Yanme Sri Rupaya Svairam Mohito Apyangamayaya. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Dishtya Tvam Vibhuddha Shrestha Swam Nishtham Atmana Sthita Yanme Sri Rupaya Sairam Mohito Apyangamayaya. Word-to-word translation. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Dishtya, all auspiciousness, Tvam, unto you, Vibhuddha Shrestha, O best of all the demigods, Swam, in your own, Nishtham, fixed situation, Atmana, of your own self, Sthita, you are situated, Yat, as, Me, mine, Stri Rupaya, appearance like a woman, Svairam, sufficiently, Mohita, enchanted, Api, in spite of, Anga, O Lord Shiva, Mayaya, by my potency. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O best of the demigods, although you have been amply harassed because of my potency in assuming the form of a woman, you are established in your position. Therefore, may all good fortune be upon you. Purport. Since Lord Shiva is the best of the demigods, he is the best of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. His exemplary character was therefore praised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gave his benediction by saying, May all good fortune be upon you. When a devotee becomes a little proud, the Supreme Lord sometimes exhibits his supreme power to dissipate the devotee's misunderstanding. After being amply harassed by the Lord Vishnu's potency, Lord Shiva resumed his normal, unagitated condition. This is the position of a devotee. A devotee should not be agitated under any circumstances, even in the worst reverses, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 22. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Because of his full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee is never agitated, even in the greatest trials. This pridelessness is possible only for the first-class devotees, of whom Lord Shambhu is one. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing the pastime where after churning the ocean, there was Mohini-murti, a very beautiful form of Krishna who appeared to bewilder the demons and award nectar to the devotees. When Lord Shiva heard of this form of Mohini-murti, he wanted to see this form. So he went to Krishna and he requested, Lord Shiva requested Krishna that I want to see this particular form of yours, which is very, very attractive and beautiful in the form of a woman, Mohini. So I want to see that form. And Krishna said, yes, I can show you that form. Just like in Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna is saying to Krishna, I've heard about your universal form, I want to see that form. So please show it to me. And so Krishna granted, okay, if you want to see it, then I'll show you that form. But as soon as Arjuna saw that form, what happened? He got completely bewildered. So similarly, here Lord Shiva asked for this particular form, and Krishna says, okay, sure. And Krishna disappeared. And all of a sudden, Lord Shiva saw this particular woman who was in the forest, and Lord Shiva was completely bewildered. And to the point where his wife Sati was there, all his disciples, followers were there, and Lord Shiva got so bewildered that he started chasing this form of Krishna, form of Mohini. And he had a great chase and trying to get Mohini-murti. But of course, Krishna, he could not get hold of her. And finally, at one point, Lord Shiva realized that actually, wait a minute, is this an illusory energy of Krishna? Am I being illusion? And as soon as he realized that, he withdrew, and he actually came back to senses. So yesterday we had an amazing class, and where Prabhu was mentioning that great personalities, they are also bewildered by the Lord. So we of course know Arjuna was bewildered. Prabhu also mentioned about Markandeya Rishi was bewildered by Krishna. Bali Maharaj was bewildered by Krishna. There are many great devotees. They are great personalities. I mean, when we talk about great, I mean the great in today's context, great is like nothing so great, We don't have so much of understanding, knowledge, realizations, humility. But these personalities are so great that they are not only respected within one community, but they're respected more than one country or the world. They're like the great personalities, and there's a respect given to them in the whole universe. There are all these personalities and all these great leaders. They respect such great personalities. But even such great personalities who are so powerful and they've exhibited such an amount of sense control, such an amount of strength, even these great personalities, they get bewildered when they are bewildered by Krishna's illusory energy. So, they're bewildered by Krishna's illusory energy, and then they come out of that bewilderment also by Krishna's mercy. So, there's a difference. When we get attracted, so, we should not, here in this pastime, where Lord Shiva is getting attracted to a form of a woman. And we should not mistake such an attraction to our attraction to the opposite sex, which is completely on the material platform. Because it is actually, it's explained that the soul by nature is servant of Krishna, and that's where the real happiness is. But having forgotten that real relationship, there is an emptiness in the heart. There is a hole in the heart. And so we try to fill that hole through putting different material objects in that hole. So we try to put sense gratification in the association of opposite sex, with various material acquisitions, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge. We try to fill that hole with all these different material accumulations, hoping that that will satisfy us. But that's like a square peg in a round hole. It will not fit and will not satisfy us. So, as conditioned soul, we are attracted to various material manifestations of material energy, but that never really satisfies us and leaves us always feeling hungry for more and more and more. And that is a manifestation that there is something lacking within us, something missing in our life. And because we want to fulfill that, is that we are chasing different objects of this world. Whereas in the case of pure devotees, like here we're seeing the pastime of Lord Shiva, he's not like us, that he's missing something and that he's trying to find some happiness somewhere in this world, somehow or other. No. This attraction is attraction to Krishna's form himself, Krishna's form is so beautiful that can bewilder anyone. And so, of course, it's bewildering even the greatest of the personalities. As Krishna himself addresses here, Lord Shiva is the best of the demigods, the best of the higher personalities. But he said even he is bewildered because this is form of Krishna. Who will not be bewildered by Krishna's form, Krishna's most beautiful form? It's very, very attractive. That bewilderment is also manifested by Krishna's Yogamaya, Krishna's internal potency. So, because of that, we can see that even these great devotees, these great personalities, they are bewildered. But we should not make a mistake of thinking that their bewilderment is same as our bewilderment, is on completely different nature. So, here we can see that although Mohini gave a great chase to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva was chasing for that gratification, eventually he realized that this is an illusory energy, and that he decided to stop at that point. And at least from our own spiritual journey, when we are in our spiritual journey, we are attracted to different objects of this world, thinking that their association will actually make us happy and satisfied. But we should understand, at least from the point when we understand this knowledge, that Jivera Sarupahai Krishna Nitya Das, that we are actually the servant of Krishna, and that the real happiness of the soul is in relationship with the super soul, in relationship with the Supreme Lord, in relationship with Krishna. When one understands that actually no, real happiness is in relationship with Krishna, real happiness is in the relationship of devotional service, from that point we should stop chasing the pleasures of the illusory energy. And we should come to the point of being self-satisfied with whatever Krishna has given us. We should learn to be satisfied with that, and we should actually endeavor for spiritual realization, for spiritual activities. So this is what Lord Shiva has exemplified here, that he stopped chasing from the time he realized that, hang on a minute, something is not right. How is it that this form is so particularly beautiful, and how is it that even me, who is such a great personality, even though I'm chasing so far, I'm still not able to get hold of it. This must be an illusory energy. And he stopped at that point. He restrained himself from that point of view. And even though it was you can say like a momentary, like a fall down, in the sense of that he left his wife, he left his disciples, and he was chasing this form of a woman. He realized that actually this was Krishna's manifestation of his illusory energy. And later on, he is not disappointed, he is not frustrated, he is not upset, but he's actually later in the later verses we will read that he actually is saying to Parvati, he's saying that you have always asked me, who is that person that I always meditate upon? Here is that person that I always meditate upon, Krishna. Because he is my Lord, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore I am always meditating on him. And so now, in these particular incidents where I am humbled, because I sort of looked like an ordinary living entity who doesn't have any sense control, and almost can become kind of like laughable at the disciples that, what is our guru doing, But even though it's such an humbled position, humbled situation, Lord Shiva is actually very happy, because he's saying that even though I'm belittled and even though I'm humbled, actually in these incidents, Krishna's position is glorified. That Krishna is glorified to be the most powerful, that even he can even bewilder the great personalities like myself, the creators and the destroyers of the universe. The Brahma and Lord Shiva are also bewildered by Krishna's illusory energy. And so therefore, Brahma is greatly pleased when he realized that, actually that was my mistake. I was bewildered and that was my fault. And so therefore he's offering Krishna these amazing prayers in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, where we hear all these great prayers glorifying Krishna and his supremacy, his greatness. And here Lord Shiva is also going to glorify the greatness of Krishna. So this is the pridelessness of a devotee, of a great devotee. That even though that their personally, their own personal personality might look smaller, but they are happy that Krishna is glorified, and so therefore that is the real pridelessness. And so therefore Prabhupada writes in the purport, so, when a devotee becomes a little proud, the Supreme Lord sometimes exhibits his supreme power to dissipate the devotee's misunderstanding. So sometimes as devotees, we can get a little pride, and we can feel that, so I'm such a great devotee, or I'm so sense-controlled, or my chanting is so well, or that I'm getting up every day in the morning, or I'm doing such and such service very nicely. So sometimes Krishna can put us in the illusory energy, and he can bewilder us, and sometimes we can make some mistake, and that's in that way Krishna shows us that our position is actually very insignificant in comparison to the illusory energy of the Lord, and that we have to always and constantly take shelter of Krishna. So it's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita where he says, Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. He says that this energy of mine is Devi, is great. It's a very powerful energy. Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. He says it's my Maya, Mama Maya Duratya. Duratya means it's very difficult to overcome. Like a great ocean. If you have to jump across a great ocean, it's very difficult to jump through. But what is the process? Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. He said, but one who has taken my shelter, then they can easily swim across, they can easily jump across. They can easily get across this very powerful energy of mine. And how? By my mercy, by my blessing. And so devotees, as devotees, we can never become proud of our own little blessings or powers that we all may have. We should never become too proud that I have this or I have that, or that I am able to do this or that. But we should actually understand that what we are able to do is actually Krishna's blessing. And it's Krishna's blessing, and it can get taken away any moment also if we get a little proud. The Krishna can really teach us a lesson by showing us that actually on our own we cannot. Right? So sometimes, the example is given just like a child sometimes is trying to lift a big, heavy weight. The child cannot lift, so then the father comes and lifts with him. And when father helps, then the child, look, I'm how strong I am. Look, I'm lifting like this 20, 30, 40 kilo weight. I think I've become very big and strong. Then, if child feels a little proud, then the father can just temporarily just leave a little bit of weight, and the child struggles to handle it, and he starts to drop it, because he can't hold such a weight. And that really teaches the child, okay, yes, actually I'm not lifting it. Okay, this is I'm getting some greater help here. And that is actually allowing me to do something that's otherwise impossible for me to do it by my own strength. So as devotees, we are never proud, and we are always understanding of our humble position. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told us this great verse that we should wear like a garland around our neck. It says, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahisnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Is that we do actually be always humble. We should always feel humble. More humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And this is the quality that's required of a devotee if one wants to continuously chant. So, if we become proud, then we become more self-absorbed and less Krishna-absorbed. We actually forget the chanting, and we actually start to sort of flaunt our own opulences to other devotees and to other people, showing off how great we are. And in that pride, we can actually forget to chant the holy name. The recommendation is that we should be chanting all the time. But then we can forget because we get a bit too carried away with our own great blessings or little blessings that we have. And though Krishna makes us humble, and so in that way we can realize our position and we can get back to our chanting, our main focus on the chanting. We can return to devotional service. So this protection is also Prabhupada is explaining here towards the second half of the purport, where he's quoting a verse from Bhagavad Gita to say that because of his faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee is never agitated, even in the greatest trials. So the difficulties or challenges is something that all of us have in our own lives, some ways or the other. Internal challenges, external challenges is something that all of us have to face. Krishna never says in Bhagavad Gita that as soon as you start chanting Hare Krishna that all the problems will go away. The problems are there and they are real, and that we have to face that. But a devotee is not disturbed by such challenges, by such trials, but is actually fixed in his devotional service. So this fixedness, this firmness in steadiness in devotional service, that comes because of his full faith, as Bhagavad Gita is explained, because of his full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's a very similar verse even in that Prabhupada quotes quite often from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite katita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. He said the great souls, because they have unflinching faith in the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, they have full faith on their instructions, on the knowledge that they have given, on their instructions, on the guidance. And so because they are fully fixed in their instructions, so therefore they are never bewildered. So even though there may be externally there may be challenges, there may be difficulties, but they are very clear that they have to chant the 16 rounds, that they have to continue to serve the deities, they have to continue to serve the devotees. And so in that way, externally they may be disturbed, but internally they are very fixed. And in that way, just like the boat, is sometime in the middle of the ocean, there's a lot of waves and there's a lot of currents and there's a lot of very strong storms, powerful storms, and the boat can be sometimes thrown in different directions, but still it keeps marching towards the destination, towards the ultimate goal. So as devotees, there may be external challenges, but we still keep moving towards our ultimate goal, which is to please Guru and to please Krishna. And when a devotees, when they're fixed in such a determination to continue to serve Krishna and serve the instructions of the devotees, spiritual masters, then is what here Krishna gives this benediction, as what Krishna is giving here to Lord Shiva. He's saying, therefore, may all good fortune be upon you. The Sanskrit for that is, what is the Sanskrit for that? What would be the Sanskrit for that may all the good fortune be upon you? Dishtya, all auspiciousness unto you. Dishtya buddhya. Dishtya tvam vibhuda shrestha. Dishtya tvam. Dishtya is referring to the all auspiciousness. Vibhuda, yeah, that's to Lord Shiva. Vibhuda shrestha, that's Lord Shiva. So this all auspiciousness is a benediction, is a blessing given by Krishna to all the devotees who are fixed in the devotional service. So this is the greatest blessing. Mangalopi mangalam. This mangalam means the great auspiciousness. So when one is engaged in devotional service, this is the greatest auspiciousness, and this blessing, this good fortune is given to all the devotees, because sometimes one may have a relationship with other person, and you may have 100 reasons to not continue that relationship because of whatever circumstances. But still, if one continues that relationship, and if one commits to that relationship and continues forward, then that's a sign of great love. That's a sign of great commitment. And so a devotee is similarly engaged in serving Krishna and serving the instructions of the spiritual master, even though there may be 100 reasons not to do it. Because the weather is not good, the health is not good, my mind is disturbed, I'm feeling a little angry because devotee said something to me, or can be many different reasons why we feel not inclined or not encouraged or not enthusiastic to serve. But despite all of that, if we continue to serve, then if we continue to chant, despite our mind is so disturbed in the morning and we're trying to chant attentively, our mind is always disturbed, and it becomes even more disturbed when we pick up the beats. One devotee was mentioning yesterday was that, Prabhu, as soon as I pick up the beats, as soon as I start chanting, then immediately all the thoughts come. All the thoughts that I'm not even thinking about whole day, they all start coming now. So despite all this agitation of the mind, if a person still tries and really sincerely tries to pay attention to this holy name, to the chanting, then Krishna blesses him or her with all the auspiciousness, so that you can continue this devotional practice, you can go deeper in your bhakti, that you can actually make progress. So this auspiciousness that's given, that's blessed to such devotee who is sincere and who is continuously trying. So in our life, we may have challenges, but we should still try and continue to serve Krishna, and in that way, we can see that those devotees who are continuing the devotional service for month after month and year after year and decade after decade, we see many devotees here, we see many devotees traveling who have been practicing Krishna consciousness for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, then it's never a smooth ride. Krishna consciousness is never a easy ride. So there is a lot of challenges, but because devotees are continuing, then Krishna is giving blessing, benediction to such devotees, that may all the good fortune be upon you. So, so we have to continue. So thank you so much. Finish here. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Just wait for the mic. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question from you. Like, even Brahma and Shiva, they both are creators and destroyers of the world and universe. Shiva is celebrated and worshipped all over the world, but Brahma, I have heard, I'm not sure, that he's been cursed, that he won't be worshipped or any places. Like, we don't see any Brahma temples. Why is that?
There's some Brahma temples, but usually there's very few temples.
Even he has the same sort of personality, but why is not that worshipped like Shiva?
I personally don't know the pastime behind, like what exactly happened with the curse, but yes. But actually, I think, I was reading, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it's explained that actually at one point, there's only Krishna temples or Vishnu temples. And I think other temples sort of came much later. So, Krishna and Vishnu temples are there, and by worshipping Krishna, we are worshipping all the demigods. We are worshipping Brahma and Shiva, by worshipping Lord Krishna. So everything is included in that.
I have one more question, Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
What does karma and bhakti are interrelated or they are parallel? Because even in our scriptures, Ravan is been considered the biggest devotee of Shiva. But of course, he wasn't good with his karma. So even if someone devote himself to the Supreme Lord, but he is not doing the right karma, so would that make any difference for him? Will he still be able to get the blessings of Lord or not?
Okay, good question. Actually, so the codes of conduct, the activities of what should be done and what should not be done is given in the scriptures, in the Bhagavad Gita, in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, in other scriptures. It's explained very clearly what is the right activity and what's not the right activity. And what is the reaction of your activity. So based on mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, when we act, then there are certain reactions to it. So, Bhagavad Gita, which is considered to be the summary of the entire Vedic knowledge, is explaining that when one acts in mode of goodness, then the reaction of that mode of goodness is that there is a satisfaction, there is peace of mind, there is happiness on a material platform. When you act on the mode of passion, there is some enjoyment in the beginning, but later on there is a lot of suffering. And person who is in mode of ignorance, then there is suffering now and there is suffering later. So, when in case of Ravana or many other personalities in the history who have been great devotees of Lord Shiva, but you can see that their acts, their conduct, right, was not as recommended in the scriptures. So because of that, they ran into a lot of problem. Correct? So even if one knows the entire Vedic scriptures, even if one may be a great devotee of some of these great personalities, if you defy Krishna, if you go against Krishna's will, if you offend devotees of Krishna, then the result is what happened to Ravana. It's an utter destruction. So therefore, we can see, and this is a great lesson, and it's a very good question, it's a very good point, is that even though you can be very devoted to some personalities, but you cannot at any stage go against the rules given in the scriptures or what will please Krishna. So if you go against that, if you act irresponsibly, then the result is problem, suffering. So therefore, the good fortune, the blessing, is given to a person who returns to his original nature. So that's why the verse that we quoted in the class is Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. Is that our nature, our true position as a spirit soul, our true position is to be servant of Krishna. And so when one establishes that position, when one is resituated in that position of serving Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, offering service to the deities, offering service to the devotees, then Krishna gives them all the blessings. That's why here Krishna is saying to Lord Shiva, then may all the good fortune be upon you, because you have restrained yourself from that attraction and you have resituated yourself in the devotional service. So therefore, all the blessings to you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Just a follow-up question. Now, Lord Shiva is the best devotee of Krishna. So if someone is praying to Lord Shiva, he has to teach the people how to respect the person he is respecting, right? Now you are praying to Krishna. Now I am following you. Then you will teach me how to follow Krishna. So why Lord Shiva didn't teach Ravanan that he has to respect Lord?
Good question. So actually, Lord Shiva, just like any other great devotee, would give his follower the knowledge if the follower was ready to take it. Most of the time, the followers of Lord Shiva or the devotees of Lord Shiva, they are so materially minded, giving them spiritual knowledge will be very difficult. Sometimes a person, we have seen many times, even when there are people who come to temple with very strong desire for material enjoyment, and they really, only thing they want is PR or job or family, and they're very, very focused and they're very directed towards that. Then there will not be, then they will not be able to understand the lecture, or they will not be able to understand the knowledge. Even when sometimes they might sit in the class, or sometimes they might discuss with devotees, but because they're so fixed in what they want in the material life, that sometimes it becomes a little hard for them to understand. So at that point, devotees will not start preaching to them too much. The devotees will just help them in where they are at, and eventually they can help them elevate. So there are incidences, actually there are pastimes where Lord Shiva has redirected those followers of him who were more sincere and who were ready to take something higher. Like we know the pastime of Brahmana who was worshipping Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva said, because he asked for, give me the greatest thing, and he said, okay, the greatest thing if you want, go to Rupa Goswami. And there's a whole pastime around it. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. If you need to talk, you can talk outside. Yeah. You can talk later, or you can talk outside. Yeah. So therefore, the Lord Shiva is responsible, and that's his teaching. But the person should be ready for it. Yeah.
Very nice answer. Still a doubt, because if he's the best devotee, now you won't consider me as a best friend if I'm so much attached to material. If you are a pure devotee, if I'm so much attached to material and everything, you won't treat me like a best friend, right? So Lord Shiva is giving all the benediction to Ravana and like a best devotee. But
whereas he has a particular position in the material affairs, and so therefore he because of the offerings and everything, he's somewhat obliged, because of his sincere his sincere practice. Because Ravana was following what is recommended in the scriptures, he was not just doing something whimsically. So he was following the scriptures in the sense of how to worship Lord Shiva. He was following that, and because of his sincere practice in that, Lord Shiva is somewhat obliged, So therefore he had to. Is that okay to say that? Is it okay to say that? Because of that obligation? Although Lord Shiva knows that when there was going to be a fight later on, that he is, even in case of Banasura, Lord Shiva knows that this is not going to last very long, but he still because he's given his word, because he's obliged, because he's given in the scriptures. So therefore, he still tries to accompany, and also in that way he shows his followers, other followers, that actually I'm not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's Krishna who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even though I'm such a great personality, when it comes to going against Krishna, I will not survive. So we have seen that pastime. In Banasura's pastime, where Banasura has a fight with Krishna, Lord Shiva is completely defeated. In the case of Ravana, is completely defeated. So it again it shows the same principle.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Anything to add in that, book?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned how if we become proud of our service, Krishna will bewilder us using his illusory energy. But we see sometimes while doing our seva, out of our own foolishness, we commit some mistakes. So how do we understand whether this is a warning from Krishna to not do this again, or if Krishna is using us as an instrument to glorify himself?
Well, that's a mistake, and we can see that shows us that we are not perfect, and that shows us that we're actually that mistake is because of ignorance, which is Krishna's illusory energy. So of course that shows that we still do make mistakes, we're still not perfect, that our devotional service is not fully attentive yet. And so therefore that's a good reminder that we should not become proud, and that we should actually have Krishna's pleasure in mind. And this is a good example. That just the fact that we made mistake, again, that's a sign of ignorance, isn't it? That is Krishna's illusory energy. So we get overcome by that very easily, very quickly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Grantaraj, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Who? Yeah, he's pleased. He's pleased very easily. Yeah. He's pleased, yeah. He's pleased very easily. He reciprocates.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vai